If I asked you about a pre-World War One maritime crisis involving a massive ship with too few lifeboats that hit an iceberg, sank, and lost most of its passengers and crew, what would you answer? The Titanic, and technically, you would be right. But in this case, not correct. I'm actually talking about a book written by an American author who wrote about a similar incident 14 years before the sinking of the Titanic. The events in the novel are stunningly similar and have led some to believe that the novelist predicted the future. Let's talk about it. The 1912 sinking of the HMS Titanic is one of the most well known oceanic sinkings in history. It was made popular by James Cameron, who directed a historically inaccurate film about the sinking. Yes, the door was big enough for Jack. Years before that, or even the launch of the Titanic itself, American writer Morgan Robertson penned a novel about a vessel that was remarkably similar and even suffered a similar fate. But who was Robertson? He was born in New York State on September 30th, 1861, and would grow up to become a crewman and later first mate on several merchant vessels. In 1899, he returned to New York where he worked as a jewelry maker. During this time, he became a writer, doing short stories, poems, as well as novels. He had varying success, but his 1898 book called Futility, later changed to The Wreck of the Titan, that's the one that would make him famous. The book follows a character named John Rowland, who is a disgraced naval officer working as a deckhand on the Titan, who witnesses the giant ship crash into a smaller ship. He refuses to keep it quiet despite pressure from the captain. The Titan later hits an iceberg where it slides across it, creating several holes, causing it to sink. All but 13, including Rowland and a young girl he rescues, perishes. The rest of the book follows Rowland navigating the fallout of the sinking. In 1912, when the Titanic sank, Robertson's publisher re released the book with its second title, and conspiracy theories began building around the similarities. Robertson's novel has since been praised for its seeming precognition. The similarities between the two ships and their fates are remarkable. Both ships were over 800 feet long and weighed over 70,000 tons. Both were touted as being unsinkable. Both ships were traveling at high speed when they struck icebergs in the North Atlantic Ocean. And both ships sank in the early hours of the morning in April, resulting in the deaths of over 1,500 people. In addition to the physical similarities between the two ships, there are also a number of parallels in the story of their sinking. For example, both ships were carrying too few lifeboats to accommodate all of their passengers and crew, and both ships were traveling through areas known to be dangerous due to icebergs. The two leading conspiracy theories are that Morgan had some form of clairvoyance and used his writing skills to transcribe what had occurred. Robertson himself denied this, saying, "No, I know what I'm writing about, that's all." He would pass away in 1915, and outside of that quote, he did not seem to comment on the incident. A second conspiracy theory was that the shipping line that created the Titanic, White Star Line, was going bankrupt and used the novel as a basis to intentionally sink the mighty ship for the insurance money. An interesting allegation, but the launch of another similar ship called the Majestic seemed to disprove this. Why sink one but not the other if they needed the money? Just a thought. Despite the similarities between the Titan and the Titanic, it is impossible to say for sure whether Robertson's novel actually predicted the sinking of the Titanic. It is possible that he simply drew on his knowledge of maritime safety to create a realistic and plausible story, which is what authors do. However, the similarities between the two ships and their fates are undeniable, and they have led many people to believe that Robertson's novel was more than just a work of fiction. As an author myself, I find that very interesting. Well, what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I hope that you liked this video. If so, be sure to like, share, and subscribe here at Studio Jake After Dark. Don't forget, you can support me on my locals community. The link is in the description. And don't forget to ask, what happens when you turn out the lights?